A human warrior donated blood to a dying alien princess. What happened next was... From orbit, the planet looked like a giant jewel, its surface sparkling with crystals that reflected the light of its twin suns. Cities glimmered like fragments of glass, and rivers of liquid silver snaked between towering mountains. Yet despite its beauty, Kale felt an uneasy tension. The ship's sensors were warning of something unusual. The planet was not just rich in life, it was sick. The readings showed high levels of a mysterious infection spreading across its capital city, threatening the ruling family. Kale had been sent as part of a humanitarian mission, but even seasoned warriors like him could not ignore the strange danger in the air. As he stepped off the shuttle onto the polished landing platform, the first thing Kale noticed was the air. It was crisp, tinged with a faint metallic scent, and almost vibrated with energy. Around him, Zalarian citizens moved gracefully, their translucent skin catching the sunlight like glass. Some had wings, others had elongated limbs, and all of them exuded a quiet elegance. Yet beneath the beauty there was fear. "Welcome, human," said a voice that was both musical and commanding. Kale turned to see a Zalarian elder approaching. Her skin shimmered like polished silver and her eyes glowed faintly blue. "I am Vela, head of the Royal Council. You have come at a critical time." Kale bowed slightly. "I am here to help. Tell me what I can do." Vela's gaze softened slightly. "The princess, she is dying. A plague spreads through the city and the royal family is not immune. Our healers cannot stop it. There is only one chance." Kale frowned. "What chance?" "What do you mean?" Vela stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "She needs a blood transfusion, but her system is unlike any on your planet. Only someone outside our species could save her if they are compatible." Kale hesitated. Blood transfusions were risky even among humans, among species as different as theirs. He could die, or worse, fail. Yet as he looked out over the city, seeing the fear and exhaustion of the people, he felt a surge of determination. "I will do it," Kale said firmly. Vela blinked. "You do not understand the risks. The blood must bond with hers or the process will fail. You could be harmed." Kale shook his head. "If I don't try, she will die. I can't stand by." Within an hour, Kale was guided through crystalline corridors to the royal palace. The interior was like nothing he had ever imagined. Walls shimmered like liquid silver, ceilings glowed softly with bioluminescent crystals, and the floor hummed faintly underfoot, as if the building itself was alive. In the center of the grand chamber, on a raised platform, lay Princess Leora. Her skin was pale, even for a Zalarian, and her breathing was shallow. Crystal devices hovered around her, monitoring her life signs. Kale felt a pang of sympathy. She was young, no older than 20 by human standards, and yet she looked like she carried the weight of a world on her shoulders. Vela motioned to Kale. "You must sit here." She guided him to a seat beside Leora. "The healers will begin. Remain calm and remain steady." Kale watched as the alien doctors activated the blood transfusion chamber. Strange, glowing tubes extended from a crystalline device and hovered in the air above them. One tube connected to Leora, the other to a vial of Kale's blood. The moment the connection was made, Kale felt a warmth spread through his arm. It was unlike any blood transfer he had ever experienced. The warmth traveled quickly, almost like fire, and then expanded through his chest and legs. "Steady, Kale," Vela said softly. "The bonding has begun." At first, Kale felt nothing more than the warmth. Then suddenly his vision blurred and colors seemed to explode around him. He could see the veins of the palace glowing faintly, the flow of energy through every Zalarian in the room. His heartbeat slowed and he felt a strange connection to Leora. He could sense her fear, her pain, and strangely a faint hope. "It's working," whispered one of the alien doctors. "The bond is stabilizing her, but the energy, it is changing him." Kale gritted his teeth. He felt stronger, faster. The room seemed sharper, every sound, every movement, every flicker of light amplified. The warmth in his veins pulsed with an intensity he had never known. He realized that he could almost see the flow of life, not just in Leora, but around him. Leora stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She blinked at Kale, her gaze weak but curious. You saved me," she whispered. Her voice was soft but musical, carrying a resonance that seemed to echo in Kale's chest. Kale nodded. I did my best. How do you feel?" "My strength, it's returning," she said. "But you are different. I feel something in you like a heartbeat, not just human, but connected." Kale frowned. "Connected how?" She struggled to sit up, the energy around her glowing faintly. I can feel your life, your thoughts. Your courage, it is flowing into me. Kale's eyes widened. He had expected gratitude, relief, perhaps awe. He had not expected this. Yet, despite the strangeness, he felt a bond forming, not just life force, but understanding. In that moment, the human warrior and the alien princess shared a connection that transcended species. But as relief filled the chamber, a distant alarm rang out across the city. The monitors on the walls flared red. Vela rushed to the screens. The plague, it spreads faster than we predicted. Entire districts are losing power, entire neighborhoods collapsing. We need a solution now. Kale stood instinctively. Tell me what to do, I'll help. Vela hesitated, then nodded. Your blood, your bond, it might give us an advantage. You must venture into the infected zones. Find the source. And Kale, be careful. Not everyone will welcome a human who walks among us. Kale tightened his fists. He had faced countless dangers on Earth, wars, storms, alien creatures in far-off colonies. But this was different. He was not just fighting for survival. He was fighting to save a civilization, a princess, and possibly himself from unknown changes he did not yet understand. Where do I start? Kale asked. Here, said Leora, her voice still weak but firm. I will guide you. Through our connection, you can feel what I see, sense what I sense. Together, maybe we can find the cure. Kale nodded, feeling a surge of determination. The city outside shimmered with danger, but also with opportunity. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries, but here, on this alien world, Kale could prove the worth of his species. Not through conquest, but through courage, selflessness, and ingenuity. The alien doctors provided him with protective gear, lightweight, crystalline armor that mirrored the city's brilliance. Weapons were unnecessary for the plague itself, but Kale carried a compact blade just in case. He stepped out onto the streets with Leora's guidance in his mind. Immediately, he saw the devastation. Buildings that had gleamed like diamonds now lay cracked, streets were filled with panicked citizens, and a sickly green mist hung in the air. Zalarian citizens stumbled, their energy failing, their wings drooping. Kale's heart clenched. This was no ordinary disease. It was a force of destruction that could wipe out a culture. Yet even amidst the chaos, Kale saw hope. People helped each other. Small groups carried the weak to safe zones. A child handed water to an elder. The courage of the Zalarian people mirrored the courage he had always known in humans. And in that moment, Kale knew something vital. The human spirit was not limited by planet or species. Here he could make a difference. Here he could prove that humanity, when united with compassion and intelligence, could change the fate of worlds. As he moved forward, guided by the bond with Leora, Kale felt the energy in his veins surge again. His senses sharpened. The glow around the infected areas seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. He could almost trace the path of the plague, feel the sick energy of its source. The adventure had begun. The human warrior and the alien princess, bonded by blood, trust, and courage, stood together on the edge of a world in crisis. And as Kale took the first steps into the infected city, he knew one thing for certain. What happened next would change both their worlds forever. The streets of Zalaris were quiet now, but only in comparison to the chaos that had struck the city hours earlier. Smoke rose from collapsed buildings, and the sickly green mist lingered in the air. Kale walked cautiously, his senses heightened in a way he could not fully explain. Every step he took, he could feel the vibrations in the crystalline streets, the hum of the city, and faintly the pulse of life around him. He had left the palace with one goal: find the source of the plague. But he quickly realized that the plague was not just random. It moved as if guided by intelligence. Kale's bond with Princess Leora made him see patterns he could not otherwise notice. Her thoughts, her faint visions, whispered in his mind, guiding him through the twisting alleys and shattered streets. Left, no, right, Kale murmured, feeling her presence in his mind. The sensation was strange but comforting. He had faced countless dangers in his life, but nothing like this. He could feel her fear and determination, as if they were one entity moving through the ruined city. The first signs of his new abilities appeared as he reached a collapsed plaza. He instinctively jumped over a wide crack in the ground, landing silently. His reflexes felt faster than normal. He turned his head sharply to notice a group of sickly citizens staggering toward him, unaware of the danger around them. Without thinking, he moved toward them, guiding them to safer ground. Every movement felt smooth, almost as if his body understood what needed to be done before his mind even realized it. This is strange, Kale whispered. I feel stronger, faster, more aware. Leora's voice echoed in his mind. It is the bond, your blood, it has awakened something in both of us. You can sense the life around you, Kale, trust it. Kale nodded, trying to absorb the feeling. The energy flowing through him was not just physical, it felt almost alive. It pulsed with warmth, and each beat seemed to sync with the life around him. He could sense the direction of the plague. It was coming from the industrial district, the place where the city's energy cores were maintained. As he approached, the first real challenge appeared. A bridge connecting two crystalline buildings had collapsed, leaving only a thin, glowing beam to cross. Beneath it, the mist of the plague swirled like a living fog. Kale's instincts kicked in. He stepped onto the beam carefully, but his newfound balance and strength made the crossing almost effortless. Midway, he paused, feeling the mist reaching for him. It was alive in a way he had not expected, curling around his legs, trying to block him. But Kale pushed forward. His blood, fused with Leora's energy, gave him resilience. The mist recoiled from him, almost afraid. On the other side, Kale found his first clue, a crystalline container shattered on the ground, leaking a strange green substance. He knelt to examine it. The energy within it pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat. He could feel the intelligence behind it. Someone had designed this plague deliberately. Kale, I see it too, Leora's voice whispered in his mind. It is engineered. Someone wants to harm my people. The source, it is not natural. His jaw tightened. Humans often fought enemies in war, but Kale had never faced an enemy that could infect entire cities. And now he realized his human instincts and ingenuity were the only way to stop it. The street ahead erupted suddenly as a group of infected citizens staggered toward him. Their bodies were twisted unnaturally by the plague, wings drooping, eyes glazed. Kale's senses sharpened further. He could anticipate their movements, dodging their strikes effortlessly. One step, two steps, a swift turn, and he disarmed them with a series of precise movements that surprised even him. This is amazing, Kale muttered. He realized that the bond with Leora amplified his reflexes, his thinking, even his strength. Humans were adaptable, and now he was more than just human. He was a bridge between species, a living weapon against a disease engineered to destroy everything. Kale moved deeper into the industrial district. The buildings here were jagged, angular, and dark. The mist clung to the ground like a sentient creature. He could see faint traces of energy flowing through the city, green veins that pulsed and connected to a massive energy core at the center. That core must be the source of the plague. Before he could move closer, a voice rang out. Stop! That human must not interfere. Kale turned to see several Zalarian guards approaching. But these were no ordinary guards. They were clad in black crystalline armor and carried energy blades. They did not attack yet, but their intent was clear. Kale raised his hands slowly. I am not your enemy, he said, his voice steady. I am trying to save your people. Step aside. A tall guard stepped forward. You are bonded with the princess. That bond is unnatural. Humans are unpredictable. Leave now or be removed. Kale clenched his fists. He had expected resistance, but not from her own people. The human spirit flared within him. I will not leave. If you want to stop me, you will have to fight me. The guards lunged. Kale moved with a speed and precision that stunned them. He dodged, blocked, and disarmed each opponent without causing lasting harm. His movements were fluid, almost like a dance. When the fight ended, the guards lay on the ground, confused and unwilling to attack further. They cannot fight me, Kale whispered. The bond, it protects us. Leora's presence in his mind was warm, reassuring. You are doing well. Keep going, Kale. The source is close. He continued toward the energy core. As he moved, he noticed more citizens trapped by the mist. The bond allowed him to sense their locations, their life forces. Using his new abilities, he guided them to safety, navigating treacherous streets, broken walkways, and falling debris. The humans and aliens trapped in the mist looked at him with a mix of fear and awe. Finally, he reached the central building. The energy core pulsed wildly, the green glow casting eerie shadows across the walls. Kale could feel the intelligence behind it. The core was alive in its own way, almost aware of his presence. His pulse quickened, but he remembered Leora's words, trust it. Kale examined the core. It was a crystalline structure filled with the same green energy as the plague. Tiny fissures ran across it, and he realized the only way to stop the plague was to disable the core without destroying the building entirely. The thought was terrifying. One wrong move could collapse the city or worsen the infection. He paused, taking a deep breath. "Think, Kale," he muttered. Humans had always adapted, solved problems that seemed impossible. This was no different. Using his enhanced senses, he studied the core. He could see the energy flows, the weak points, the way the core reacted to movement and pressure. Now, Leora's voice whispered. He felt her confidence flowing into him. "You can do it, trust yourself." Kale reached out, placing his hands on the crystalline core. Energy pulsed through him. He could feel it trying to resist, trying to push him away. But instead of fighting, he worked with it, guiding it, redirecting its flow into a containment pattern. Slowly, the pulsing green energy dimmed. The mist outside began to thin. The sickly citizens breathed easier, their wings lifting. Kale stepped back, exhausted but exhilarated. He had done it. The source of the plague was neutralized, at least for now. But as he looked around, he realized the danger was not over. The core had been engineered by someone with great knowledge and skill. Whoever did this could strike again, and Kale knew, deep in his heart, that this was only the beginning. Humans had survived countless dangers on Earth, but now, far from home, he was part of something much larger. He had the chance to prove that courage, intelligence, and selflessness could change the fate of a world. As he made his way back through the streets, guiding the remaining citizens to safety, Kale felt a warmth in his chest, the same warmth that had flowed during the blood transfusion. Leora's presence was stronger now. They were connected not just by life, but by purpose. Together, they would face whatever came next. The twin sons of Zalaris sat behind the mountains, casting long shadows across the city. Despite the destruction, despite the fear, there was hope. And for the first time, Kale realized that humanity's true power was not just in strength, but in the courage to act, even when the odds were impossible. The adventure was far from over. Kale had awakened abilities he did not fully understand, faced dangers he could barely imagine, and formed a bond that transcended species. But as he looked at the city below, he knew one thing. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors, but as saviors. And in that realization, Kale felt a fire ignite within him, a determination to protect, to fight, and to prove that even one human could make a difference on a world far beyond his own. The streets of Zalaris were quiet now, but not peaceful. The city was recovering from the plague, yet tension hung heavy in the air. Citizens whispered about the human who had saved the princess and stopped the plague. Some called Kale a hero. Others saw him as a threat, a strange outsider who had entered their royal palace, bonded with the princess, and wielded powers no one could explain. Kale walked with caution, his senses alert. Even though the mist had cleared from the streets, the danger had not disappeared. His bond with Leora pulsed in his mind, a constant reminder that their connection was more than blood. It was life, energy, and trust entwined. "Kale," Leora whispered in his mind, "I feel unease, not all welcome you. Some fear what they cannot understand." He nodded. "I've noticed we need to be careful. Who would attack us now?" Before Leora could answer, a loud commotion erupted near the city square. Kale's senses flared. He could feel multiple life forces moving rapidly, some human, some Xylarian, but one different, dangerous. Kale moved quickly toward the sound, stepping over shards of crystal and debris. As he rounded a corner, he saw the source. A group of black-armored figures was confronting a small crowd. At their center was a tall, stern Xylarian with silver eyes, clearly someone of authority. "Step aside, human," the leader barked. "You are an anomaly. You must be removed before you destabilize our world." Kale stepped forward. "I am here to help, not to harm. The city is recovering. Why attack now?" The Xylarian sneered. "Your bond with the princess is unnatural. You are contaminating the royal lineage. No outsider can interfere with our people." Kale clenched his fists. "I did not ask for your approval. I saved lives. I saved your princess, and I will continue to help." The Xylarian raised a crystalline staff, and energy crackled along its length. The crowd backed away, fear spreading like wildfire. Kale's bond with Leora flared. He could sense her fear, but also her determination. She would not let him face this alone. "I stand with him," Leora's voice rang in his mind. "Do not touch him, I command you." For a moment, the leader hesitated. He had never heard the princess speak so boldly, yet the fear of tradition and power ran deep. "You will regret this, princess," he hissed. Kale moved swiftly. His reflexes, heightened by the bond, allowed him to disarm two of the attackers before they could react. Sparks flew as crystalline weapons clashed. He did not fight to kill, his purpose was protection, but he would not allow them to harm Leora or the citizens. The remaining attackers hesitated, clearly unsure. Kale's presence was unlike anything they had seen. A human, yet more than human, moving with speed and precision, yet controlled, careful. The bond with Leora gave him strength beyond their understanding. One guard lunged at him with a spinning strike. Kale caught the arm mid-motion, twisting and redirecting it harmlessly. Another swung a blade, and Kale dodged, stepping to the side. He could feel the rhythm of the fight, the ebb and flow of energy, the heartbeat of every combatant, and he adapted instantly. "You cannot fight what you do not understand," Kale muttered. The leader roared, frustration clear in his voice. "Enough, princess, obey me." "No," Leora's voice thundered in his mind. "Kale is my ally, trust him." The bond between them pulsed like a living thing. Kale could feel her courage, her will flowing into him, guiding his movements. With a series of precise strikes, he disarmed the remaining guards, leaving them kneeling and stunned. The crowd whispered, unsure whether to cheer or flee. You defeated us," the leader asked, disbelief in his voice. Kale stood tall, chest heaving. "I saved your city. I saved your people. That is all I want. If you refuse to accept it, then I will still do my duty." The leader looked at Leora, who hovered beside Kale, glowing faintly. Her energy radiated strength and authority. "Perhaps we underestimated the human," he muttered. "But be warned, not all will agree with your presence." Kale nodded. He knew this was only the beginning. The bond with Leora gave him strength, but it also painted a target on his back. The more powerful he became, the more others would fear him. As the group dispersed, Leora's voice filled his mind again. "Kale, thank you. I could not have faced them alone. Your presence, your courage, it inspires me." Kale smiled faintly, feeling warmth in his chest. "I did what was right. That is all that matters." For the next few hours, Kale and Leora moved through the city. He continued helping the citizens, using his enhanced reflexes and strength to clear debris, guide the sick to safe zones, and neutralize remnants of the plague mist. Everywhere he went, whispers followed him. Some praised the human warrior, others plotted against him. By evening, they reached the royal palace. Leora's energy had strengthened him, but the day's events had taken their toll. He needed rest. The palace healers offered him a simple meal and a place to sleep, but Kale declined. He needed to understand more about his new abilities. "Leora," he said quietly, "this bond, it's changing me. I feel stronger, faster, smarter, but I do not understand why. Why my blood?" She approached him, her eyes glowing softly. "It is rare, Kale. Humans, you carry qualities that we do not fully comprehend. Your courage, your adaptability, your selflessness, it resonates with our life energy. When you gave your blood, it did not just save me. It connected our species, it awakened potential." Kale ran a hand through his hair. "Potential for what? I can sense life, feel energy, even fight faster than anyone here. But is it dangerous? Could it hurt you or anyone else?" Leora smiled faintly. "It is not dangerous if we control it. But yes, some may fear it. Some may try to use it or stop it." The next morning, the palace council convened. Kale and Leora entered the chamber, greeted by a mixture of awe and suspicion. Elder Vela stood at the front, her expression calm but firm. "Kale," she began, "your actions have saved the princess and countless citizens. You have proven your worth. Yet," she paused, glancing at the other council members, "not all of our people agree with your presence. Some fear your bond with the princess. Some fear what you represent." Kale remained silent. He had expected resistance, but he did not expect betrayal from within the council itself. A council member stepped forward, his voice sharp. "The human may have helped, yes. But what if his bond spreads further? What if he becomes a threat to our royal line? We cannot risk it." Leora's glow intensified. "I choose him, I trust him, the council will not dictate my allies." The member sneered. "You are blinded by loyalty. The human, he is unpredictable. We cannot control him." Kale felt the familiar surge of energy. The bond with Leora pulsed through him, steady and strong. He could sense her fear, yes, but also her unwavering determination. They were in this together. "I am not here to be controlled," Kale said calmly. "I am here to protect your people, to fight your enemies. If that makes some of you uncomfortable, I will still do my duty. I do not need approval to do what is right." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, Kale realized the true challenge of this world was not just the plague, but the fear of humans. Some respected courage, others feared it. Yet the princess's trust gave him strength beyond words. As the council deliberated, a new alarm sounded across the city. Kale's senses flared. This time it was not just a few citizens affected. The outer districts were under attack, not the plague, but something else. He could feel aggression, strategy, and intent. Someone was testing him or preparing for a bigger strike. Leora's voice was urgent in his mind. Kale, we must act. This is no ordinary danger. Someone seeks to challenge us to test our bond. Kale nodded. Then we will meet them together. As they moved to the palace's transport chamber, Kale reflected on what had happened. The human warrior who had traveled across the stars to help a dying princess was now facing enemies on multiple fronts. A deadly plague, skeptical council members, and mysterious attackers with unknown motives. Yet Kale felt no fear. Humanity had survived worse. They had conquered impossible odds with courage, intelligence, and unity. And now, far from Earth, Kale was proving that same human spirit could change the fate of an entire world. The twin sons of Zalaris rose again, casting golden light across the city. The streets were scarred but alive. Kale and Leora stood together, bonded by blood, trust, and purpose. They had survived betrayal and danger. They had faced fear and uncertainty, and they were ready for whatever came next. For Kale, the adventure had only just begun. The city of Zalaris was alive with a mixture of hope and unease. The plague had been stopped, but danger still lingered. Kale stood on a balcony of the royal palace, looking over the shimmering streets below. The twin suns cast long golden reflections on the crystal towers, but the shadows between them hid secrets. He could feel them, the energy of enemies plotting, moving, and watching. Leora appeared beside him, her translucent wings shimmering softly. Kale, she said quietly, the threat is not over. Someone engineered the plague and they are still out there. I can feel their intent. It is focused on me and on you. Kale nodded, feeling the familiar pulse of energy in his veins. I am ready. Whatever they plan, we stop it. Together, Leora's glow intensified. Your presence gives me strength, but this will require more than courage. You must think, Kale. Humans are clever in ways some aliens cannot imagine. Use that. Kale smiled faintly. Cleverness had kept him alive in countless wars, storms, and dangerous missions across Earth and beyond. Now, it would save an alien civilization. The two of them left the palace quietly. Kale's senses, heightened by the bond with Leora, allowed him to detect subtle movements, faint sounds, and tiny energy pulses from the surrounding streets. He could feel the path ahead, almost like the city itself was guiding him. They reached the outer districts, still partially shrouded in green mist, though it no longer carried the plague. Instead, it pulsed irregularly, almost like a heartbeat, a sign of the rogue's presence. Kale crouched behind a fractured wall, scanning the area. I see them, Leora whispered in his mind. A group of figures, humans and Zalarians working together. They move with precision, planning something. Kale frowned. Humans? He had left Earth behind, and now humans were here, potentially aiding the enemy. Are they working with the rogue? Yes, Leora replied, but not all. Some may have been forced or deceived. We need to approach carefully. Kale took a deep breath, feeling the flow of life around him. He could sense the path of least resistance, the hidden corners, and the weak points in the rogue's formation. Human ingenuity often came from understanding patterns and adapting quickly. That skill, combined with his new abilities, made him a force unlike anything Zalaris had seen. They moved forward, using the shadows to stay hidden. The rogue's base was a massive crystalline tower, half-collapsed but still humming with energy. Kale could feel the pulse of the rogue's power, almost like a heartbeat echoing in his chest. There, Leora said, pointing with her mind. The source of the energy, the plague core was only a test. This is their real plan. Kale nodded. Then we stop it, now. They approached the entrance. Guards patrolled the area, their crystalline weapons glowing faintly. Kale observed them. Timing, positioning, and precision, he could handle this. Humans excelled at adaptation, and he would prove it. He moved first, silently disabling a guard with a precise strike that caused no lasting harm. The second guard froze, staring at Kale's unusual speed and control. Kale caught him before he could raise an alarm, binding him quickly with a restraining device provided by the palace. Your turn, Kale whispered to Leora. Leora hovered beside him, her energy flaring. With a thought, she sent a wave of light toward the remaining guards, temporarily blinding them and creating a safe path for them to move forward. Go, she urged. Kale sprinted, vaulting over debris and broken walkways, feeling the rhythm of the rogue's defenses. The rogue had engineered not just the plague, but a series of traps designed to slow intruders. Kale could sense the weak points, the timing, the flow. He moved like a shadow, dismantling barriers with intelligence and precision. Finally, they reached the heart of the tower. A massive crystalline machine pulsed with green energy, larger and more complex than the plague core. Kale could feel its intelligence. It was designed to adapt, respond, and resist. But humans were clever. Kale studied the machine, noticing the patterns in the energy pulses. "It's reacting to our presence," he whispered. "But there are gaps, timing flaws. We can use them." Leora's mind connected with his, sharing visions of the machine's inner workings. Together, they formed a plan. Kale would distract the energy flow, forcing the machine to recalibrate, while Leora used her power to channel the rogue's energy into a containment sequence. "Ready?" Kale asked. "Always," Leora replied. Kale ran forward, placing his hands on the machine. Energy surged through him, trying to push him back. He focused, using his bond with Leora to control it rather than fight it. Sparks flew and the tower trembled, but Kale's human ingenuity guided the energy along a safe path. Leora extended her hands, her light flaring, and with a thought, she began redirecting the rogue's energy into a containment pattern Kale had devised. The machine pulsed violently, trying to resist, but Kale's precision and her power combined created a harmony the rogue had not expected. Minutes passed like hours. Kale could feel the strain, the energy burning through him, but he did not falter. Humans had survived impossible odds through determination, creativity, and courage. This was no different. Finally, the green pulse slowed, dimmed, and then stopped. The rogue's tower fell silent, the energy safely contained within the machine. Kale stepped back, breathing heavily but triumphant. "It's done," he whispered. Leora's glow softened as she hovered beside him. "You did it, Kale. Your human mind, your courage saved this city again." Kale smiled faintly. "We did it together." But the victory was short-lived. From the shadows, a figure emerged. The rogue scientist, a tall Zalarian with eyes like molten silver, had survived the chaos. He raised a crystalline staff, energy crackling along its length. "You think this ends here?" he hissed. "You are humans, clever, yes, but predictable." "And I will finish what I started." Kale's pulse quickened. Leora's presence strengthened him. "We are not predictable," he said firmly. "We adapt, we survive, and we will stop you." The rogue lunged, and Kale reacted instantly. His reflexes, sharpened by the bond, allowed him to dodge attacks and counter with precision. Leora sent bursts of energy, not to harm, but to disrupt the rogue's control. Together, they moved as one, human ingenuity and alien power in perfect harmony. The rogue realized his advantage was gone. Every attack he made was anticipated and neutralized. Kale adapted, finding weaknesses, using his surroundings, and improvising strategies in ways the rogue could not predict. "You cannot defeat me," the rogue shouted, frustration and fear in his voice. Kale smiled faintly. "Humans have survived worse, and we do not fight alone." With a final coordinated effort, Kale and Leora redirected the rogue's energy into a containment field, neutralizing him without causing harm. The tower's systems shut down safely, the threat neutralized for now. Exhausted but triumphant, Kale and Leora stood together. The city below was safe once again, and the rogue's plans were stopped. Citizens cautiously emerged from their homes, witnessing the human warrior and the princess side by side, victorious. Vela appeared, her expression a mixture of relief and awe. "Kale, you have done more than any of us imagined. You have shown what humans can accomplish, not just strength, but intelligence, courage, and honor." Kale bowed slightly. "I only did what I could. Leora's guidance made this possible." "Humans and Zalarians, together we can overcome anything." Leora smiled, her glow reflecting in Kale's eyes. "Yes, together we are stronger than anyone imagined, and this is only the beginning." As they returned to the palace, Kale realized something important. Humans were often underestimated. Their strength, ingenuity, and courage were sometimes ignored, sometimes feared. But here, far from Earth, his actions had proven one thing. Humanity's true power was in its ability to adapt, to think, and to act when the stakes were highest. The twin suns of Zalaris set once again, casting long shadows across the city. The streets were scarred, but alive. Kale and Leora stood on a balcony, looking out over the city, their bond stronger than ever. The rogue scientist had been stopped, but others might try again. Kale clenched his fists, feeling the pulse of life, energy, and determination flowing through him. "Whatever comes next," he whispered, "we will face it together." Leora hovered beside him, her wings shimmering softly. "Yes, Kale. And this city, our people, they will never forget what a human has done for them." And for the first time, Kale understood the true meaning of his journey. He was not just a warrior, not just a stranger from another world. He was a symbol of hope, courage, and the remarkable potential of humanity. The adventure was far from over, but Kale was ready. With Leora by his side and humanity in his heart, he would face any challenge that came next. Because humans had always survived, and here on Zalaris, they were proving that their courage could change the fate of worlds. The city of Zalaris glimmered under the twin suns. Brilliant mix of silver and gold, reflecting off the crystalline towers. Life was returning to the streets. Citizens emerged from their homes, helping each other, rebuilding what had been damaged, and celebrating their survival. For the first time in days, laughter and chatter replaced the fearful whispers. Kale stood on a balcony of the royal palace, watching the scene below. His body was tired, muscles aching from days of battles, running, and using his heightened abilities. Yet he felt no fear, only a deep satisfaction. Humanity had arrived on Zalaris not as conquerors, but as saviors. Leora hovered beside him, her energy soft and steady now. She had fully recovered, her glow bright and steady. "Kale," she said, "the city is healing and the rogue has been stopped. But your journey here, it has changed more than the city. It has changed us, changed me, changed how we see humans." Kale turned to her, his chest swelling with pride. "I only did what any human would do. We fight when we must, we protect when we can, and we adapt when the odds are impossible. That is all humanity has ever done." Leora smiled. "Yet humans have qualities we could never fully understand until now: courage, resilience, selflessness, and ingenuity. Your mind, Kale, solved problems we would have struggled with for years." Kale shrugged. "I just used what I know. Sometimes that is enough." But it was more than enough. His actions had prevented the rogue from harming the city again. His human instinct for adaptation and problem-solving had saved thousands of lives. And the bond with Leora had shown that humans could connect with other species in ways that transcended culture, language, and even biology. The palace doors opened and Elder Vela entered, flanked by the council. Their expressions were serious but respectful. "Kale," Vela began, "you have done more than anyone imagined. The city owes you its life. The princess owes you hers. And humanity, your people, they have proven their worth in ways our scholars could not have predicted." Kale inclined his head. "I did what was necessary. I only hope the city continues to heal and that your people are safe." Vela nodded. "You have earned more than gratitude. You have earned trust, and that trust will form a new alliance between humans and Zalarians, one that will strengthen both our peoples in the years to come." Kale's eyes widened slightly. "An alliance?" "Yes," Leora said, stepping forward. "Your presence here has shown us the power of cooperation. Humans are courageous, adaptable, and clever. We will never forget what you have done, Kale. And together we will prepare for any future threat, whether it comes from within or beyond our stars." The council members murmured among themselves. Some were still wary, but many now nodded in agreement. Kale could see the change in their eyes. They had witnessed a human act not out of conquest, but out of courage, intelligence, and compassion. That was a power they could respect and rely upon. In the following days, Kale worked alongside Leora and the Zalarians to rebuild the city. He helped redesign some of the energy systems, ensuring that the rogue scientist could not easily strike again. His human ingenuity allowed him to combine Zalarians' advanced technology with simple human principles: efficiency, redundancy, and adaptability. The citizens began to notice the changes. Streets were safer, buildings were sturdier, and communication between districts improved. Kale worked tirelessly, but he did so gladly. Every improvement, every life saved, every child returning safely to their home reminded him why humans could be a force for good in the galaxy. One evening, Kale and Leora stood on the palace balcony again. The city below sparkled like a sea of stars. The twin suns were setting, casting brilliant reflections on the towers. "Kale," Leora said softly, "there is something you need to understand. Our bond, it is permanent. The blood, the energy, the connection we share, it cannot be undone. This will allow humans and Zalarians to communicate and cooperate in ways we never thought possible." Kale felt a warmth in his chest. the same warmth that had flowed through him during the first transfusion. He realized this bond was more than survival. It was trust, understanding, and friendship across worlds. I understand, he said, and I am honored to share it with you and your people. Leora smiled. Then we begin a new era. Together we will face threats, discover new worlds, and ensure that life in all its forms thrives. In the following weeks, Kale trained alongside Zalarians, teaching them some of the human strategies he had used to stop the rogue. They practiced combat coordination, energy management, and problem-solving exercises. Kale marveled at their willingness to learn and their unique abilities. The humans and Zylarians complemented each other perfectly. Where humans relied on intuition, creativity, and adaptability, Zylarians had speed, energy manipulation, and precision. Together, they became unstoppable. During one training session, a young Zylarian approached Kale nervously. "Sir Kale, I wanted to thank you. You have given us hope, not just the princess or the council, but all of us. You have shown us courage is not limited by species." Kale smiled. "You don't need to thank me. You already have everything it takes inside you. You just needed someone to remind you." The young Zalarian's eyes glimmered. And that someone was a human. I will never forget it. As the weeks passed, word of Kale's deeds spread beyond the capital. Other cities and distant planets heard of the human warrior who had saved Zalaris. Humanity's reputation among alien civilizations grew, not as conquerors, not as invaders, but as allies, problem solvers, and protectors. Kale spent time with Leora as well, their connection deepening. Through their bond, he could sense her thoughts, her hopes, and her fears. They shared ideas, strategies, and visions of the future. The princess was no longer weak and dependent. She was a partner, a leader, and a friend who could trust humanity as much as her own people. One day, Leora led Kale to the palace's highest tower. From there, they could see the entire city stretching across mountains and rivers of silver. "Kale," she said, "look at what we have accomplished. The city lives, the rogue has been stopped, and we have built trust. Your people, they have proven themselves." Kale took a deep breath. "It is remarkable, but it is also just the beginning. Humans have survived countless dangers, and now here far from home we are showing the galaxy what humanity can do." Leora placed a glowing hand on his shoulder. "Yes, Kale. And now we prepare for the future. Together we will ensure that life thrives. Humans, Zylarians, and all who seek peace and growth." As night fell over Zalaris, the twin moons rose above the mountains. Their silver light reflected across the city, illuminating the streets, the towers, and the people who now walked without fear. Kale stood beside Leora, feeling the energy of the city, the bond with the princess, and the heartbeat of life that stretched across worlds. He realized something profound. Humans had always survived, not just because of strength or weapons, but because of courage, adaptability, intelligence, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. That spirit had traveled across the stars and had changed the fate of an entire civilization. And in that moment, Kale knew that humanity's story was not just on Earth. It was among the stars, shaping the future of countless worlds, forging alliances, and proving that the human spirit could thrive anywhere. The palace bells rang, signaling the beginning of a new day. Citizens emerged to greet it, rebuilding, celebrating, and living. Kale and Leora stood together on the balcony, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. "Whatever comes next," Kale whispered, "we will face it together." Leora smiled, her glow reflecting in his eyes. "Yes, Kale. Together, humanity and Zalaris will face the future, and nothing will stand in our way." For the first time, Kale allowed himself to relax. He had crossed worlds, saved a civilization, and forged a bond that would last a lifetime. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors but as heroes, and the galaxy would never forget. As the twin moons cast their silver light across the city, Kale and Leora looked toward the stars. They were ready for anything. New challenges would come, new threats would rise, but humans, with their courage, ingenuity, and spirit, would continue to prove themselves wherever they went. And Zalaris would always remember the day a human warrior gave his blood, his courage, and his heart, and changed the course of history forever.